Hello friends, welcome back to the Crafty channel. So in today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft a basic bodice block. This is the updated version. I have another version on my channel, so I'll be linking it down if you want to watch that one. And this is the new updated version. So we'll be needing our pattern paper. This is our pattern paper, any type of pattern paper you can get hold of. And then this is our basic tools for drafting this bodice block. So if you would like to learn how to draft this bodice block, please continue watching to the end of the video. So the measurements we'll be needing for drafting this pattern is our shoulder measurement, which is 17, and the shoulder to the bust point is 12 inches, shoulder to the waist is 18 inches, and the shoulder to the full length is 24 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance, which is 25 inches. And then the bust band we are using is 9 inches, and you are going to divide it by 2. Next, you'll be needing your bust circumference, which you are going to divide by 4. And then we need our waist circumference, which is 38 inches, which you are going to divide by 4. And then our hip circumference, 44 inches, divided by 4. So let's get started. So this is my pattern paper. I folded it into 2. And if you want to cut it direct on your fabric, you fold it into 2. So I want to talk a little bit about this basic bodice block. So a basic bodice block is part of a garment that you can sew on its own as a top, and also you can join it to your skirt to make a dress, and also you can join it to your trousers to make a jumpsuit. And you can use it to create different neck styles, and then you can manipulate it to make whatever your style is. So let's continue. So I have my pattern paper here folded into 2. I used the highest part of my body, and I added 5 inches for that and sewing allowance. So I'm marking a starting line here, which is also my shoulder line. So this is my starting point, and I'm going to take my vertical measurement from the shoulder to the bust point, from the shoulder to the waist, and then from the shoulder to the length of the top. So from the shoulder to the bust point, I mark 12 inches, and I'm marking it across so that I can get a straight line. So from my shoulder to my waist is 18 inches. So I mark 18 inches for the waist, and I'm marking it across. Now from the shoulder to the length of the top is 24 inches plus 1 inch for hemming allowance, so it's 25 inches. And this side is the front panel. It's the front panel of the bodice block I'm starting with, and I folded it in half. So don't forget to always fold your fabric or your pattern paper in half. So next, I'm going to rule all the lines. So let me label the lines. This is our shoulder line. I mark it SL. This is the bust point. I mark it BP. And then this is the waistline, WL. And then this is our hip line or the length line. So this is it. Now we are going to start with our horizontal measurement. So the shoulder I'm working with is 17 inches. So you are going to divide your shoulder by 2. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. And I'm going to create the neckline. And I'm using the standard measurement, 3 by 3 for the neck width, and then the neck depth for the front. And I'm going to connect the line. You can use your free hand, or you can use a curved ruler if you have. On the shoulder point, I'll be coming down 1 inch for our shoulder slope, because our shoulders are not straight, it's slant. So I connect to the neckline like so. The next thing is to create our armhole curve. And to create your armhole curve, you need a line, a straight line. So by getting this straight line, you measure around your armhole measurement and divide it by 2. Or you divide your bust by 6 and add 1.5 inches. By doing that, I got 8.5 inches. Our armhole depth is going to be 8.5 inches here. Here it goes. Then I'll connect the line straight with my straight ruler. So this is our armhole line, and I'll extend the line outwardly like so. And I'm going to use my pencil to mark it. The next thing to do is to find the midpoint of this armhole line. By so doing, you can fold your tape in half like this, or you divide what you have here by 2. So the armhole line is 8.5 inches divided by 2 is 4.2. So the midpoint is 4.2. And then I'm coming in by half an inch. That's for the front armhole. The front armhole is deeper than the back armhole. So next is to create the armhole curve. And to do that, to get the right accurate measurement for your armhole, you impute your bust measurement. That's your bust divided by 4. So the bust I'm using is 43 inches. Divided by 4 is 10.75. I mark 10.75 here for our cut of our bust measurement. So this line is now our chest line or upper bust line. So now to create the armhole, I'll be connecting from this end here, from this 1 inch to this half inch, and then connect it. These points here, you use straight ruler like this, and then you connect with the curved ruler to the armhole. So this is our front armhole. So the next thing to do is to create our dart line. And to do that, you need your bust span. So your bust span divided by 2. That's the distance between one nipple to the other nipple is your bust span measurement. So you are going to divide it by 2. There's another method of getting your bust span. And to do that, you are going to divide your bust by 8, and then you minus 1 inch. So by doing that, I got 4.5. My bust span is 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5. So I'm going to mark the 4.5 from the bust line, the waistline, and then to the length of the top. And connect it with your ruler strips. So next is to create our dart. So to create your dart, on the bust line, you come down by 1 inch. That's to create a room for your bust to sit perfectly. So you come down by 1 inch, and then on the waistline you take 1 inch for the dart, and you are going to divide it on each side of the line. So you are going to place half an inch on one side and then half an inch on this side. And on the hip line you come up by 2 inches. Then you connect the dart line. So this is our dart. So the next thing to do is to impute your measurement, your body measurement. So we start with the bust, and the bust, I mark the bust measurement. On this bust line, you are going to mark the same measurement, which is the bust divided by 4. So you place your cut of your bust measurement here, which is 10.75, as I did on the chest line. It's going to be the same. Then on the waistline, you divide the waist circumference by 4. The waist I'm using is 38 inches divided by 4 is 9.5 inches. So I place 9.5 inches here. Then you replace the 1 inch you took for the dart. So you add the 1 inch like so. So when you come to the hip line, you divide your hip circumference by 4. So the hip I'm using is 44 inches. Divided by 4 is 11 inches. So I mark 11 inches here. So the next thing to do, I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance on the bust, the waist, and then the hip line, which is also the length of the top. But you can choose not to add your allowance on the paper, but you add it when cutting it on the fabric. Next, I'll connect all the lines. So coming to the shoulder line, I'm going to mark half an inch on the shoulder slope for the joining allowance when joining your pattern. Because if you don't add this half an inch on the shoulder for the joining allowance, your bust is going to snatch up on top of your breast, which is going to give a funny look to the bust side of your top. So the next thing is, if you want a bust that, you go on the bust point, you go in by 1.5 inch, or you can go in 1 inch or 2 inches. Then on this side of the bust, you take 1 inch, half inch here, half inch here. Then you connect it to this point. So because you took 1 inch here for the bust dart, we are going to place it down here. If you don't place it down, you see that after joining your darts, there will be shortage down here. So because we took 1 inch here for the side dart or the bust dart, you call it, you place 1 inch on the hemline here. So this is it. I added the 1 inch for the dart intake here. So this is it. Our front pattern is ready. So the next thing to do is to cut it out. So the front bodice block is ready. So don't forget, when you are cutting it on fabric, cut it on fold. So I write it here, on fold. So let's continue with the back pattern. The back pattern is also folded into two. And I've already drew out the line. This is our starting line, and it's also our shoulder line. And this is our bust point, this is the waistline, and this is the hip line or the length of the top. So the shoulder to the bust point is 12 inches. From the shoulder to the waist is 18 inches. The shoulder to the length of the top is 25 inches, together with the sewing allowance. So let's start drafting the back pattern. So I mark 1 inch line here. As you can see, this is the zipper line. That's the difference between the front and the back. The front doesn't have any zipper allowance. The difference between the front and the back is the back has zipper allowance. The neck of the back is going to be 3 by 1 inch standard instead of 3 by 3 for the front pattern. So we are not making the back pattern. So first of all, we'll be marking half of our shoulder measurement, which is 8.5. And then on this 8.5 inches, I come down 1 inch for a shoulder slope, and on the back neck width is 3 inches, and the neck depth is 1 inch. That is standard. So I'll connect the line. So this is the back neck, 3 inches by 1 inch. Then I will connect the shoulder slope straight to the neck point. So as we did in the front, we need the armhole line to create our armhole. As I said, our armhole measurement is divided by 2, 8.5, and I'm going to connect with a straight line. I'll extend this line outwardly like this, which also serves as our chest line or our upper bust. And I'm going to just mark a block line here. So the next thing to do is to create our back armhole. And to do that, you need to get the midpoint of this armhole line, which is 8.5, and half of it is 4.2. I mark it here. But this armhole for the back is not going to come in by half an inch. It's just going to connect straight to the armhole. So to get a perfect armhole curve, you are going to impute your bust measurement. That's your bust circumference divided by 4. My bust circumference is 43 inches divided by 4 is 10.75. And then I take my curve ruler and connect the armhole for the back. So the next thing we are going to do is to create our dart line. And to get our dart line, you need your nipple to nipple measurement. That's your bust span divided by 2. So my bust span is 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5 inches. So on this chest line, on the bust point, I mark 4.5 inch all the way to the hemline. And then on the upper bust, I'll come down by 1 inch. So I'll connect the dart line there and then connect straight line to the hemline. So the next thing to do is to take 1 inch for the waist dart. and I'm going to divide the 1 inch by 2 and mark ½ inch on each side of the dart line. And then on the hemline, I'll come up by 2 inches. So next thing to do is to connect from this point to the waist and to this point down. So this is the back dart. So what you are going to do next is to impute the horizontal measurement. So you are going to divide your bust by 4, which is 10.75. I mark it on the chest line, and I mark it 10.75 also on the bust point. And on the waist, I divide the waist by 4. 38 divided by 4 is 9.2, plus 1 inch for the dart is 10.2. And then the hip is 44 divided by 4 is 11 inches. So it's so easy to draft. So the next thing I'll do is to connect the lines. But on the front pattern, I added 2 inches for the side seam allowance. So I'm going to mark 2 inches on the back pattern too. So next is to connect the points. So what I'll do next is to add ½ inch for the journey allowance from the shoulder slope. If you want to add a zipper and you want to remove the zipper bulging, I have a tutorial on my channel showing how to reduce your zipper bulging. But for the sake of beginner, I'm going to show you how to remove the zipper bulging. So you come to the waistline and go in by ½ inch, and then you connect to the chest line. Then you connect to the hemline. Then coming here on this waistline, you go in from this center back line. You go in by ½ inch also and connect it to the chest line as you did here. So this is it, guys. Our back panel is ready. So what to do next is to cut it out. So our back panel is ready. This is our back bodice block. And when you want to cut it on your fabric, you cut the zipper line, and then this will be our new zipper line. This is our front panel, this is the back. The back armhole is not deeper, but the front armhole is deeper. And the front has a bust dart here. And then to replace the bust dart, I added 1 inch down because I took 1 inch for the dart. So I added 1 inch. If you don't do that, you see that after holding your dart, there'll be shortage down. If you want to join it to your skirt to make a dress, to join it to your pants to make a jumpsuit, you fold it in half on the waistline. After folding it, make sure that you add your sewing allowance. Either 1 inch or 2 inches or 1½ inch you want to take for the sewing allowance. Make sure that you add your sewing allowance down, and then the 1 inch for the dart, you replace it also down. But I'll be creating a half-scale basic bodice block in my next video so that you can understand it better. So if you find this tutorial helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also share my videos, comments, and if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so by hitting on the red subscribe button to be part of this amazing family. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.